So we're going to meet with Daniel Lacalle. He's a chief economist at Tressis, based in Madrid and here in London. We're hoping to hear from him about Europe, the European project, European growth, how the interplay is working. Also dig a little bit into Spain. And he's just written a book about how we get out of this central bank trap. So hopefully we'll dig into that and hear his views on the commodity supercycle, where he's pretty bearish.
In Escape from the Central Bank Trap, one of the things that I mentioned is that we cannot say, look, what central banks need to do is to disappear. Okay, we need to be aware that central banks are going to continue to be there. Now, what we need to do is to pay attention to the fact that large monetary stimulus, lowering interest rates, increasing money supply, the level at which we're doing, we are in a period in which, with no crisis, with no recession, the major central banks are increasing money supply, are buying assets by more than 200 billion a month, which is absolutely crazy. So one of the things that we need to do is to pay attention to what they're doing and to avoid the central bank from becoming what I call it in the book, the pyromaniac firefighter. The pyromaniac firefighter is the one that creates all the elements of a crisis, of a financial crisis, by massively lowering interest rates and increasing money supply, therefore leading investors and market participants to take massive risk for very low yields. Then, when it all explodes, presents itself as the savior by doing exactly the same, by printing more money and lowering interest rates. So there are solutions. There are solutions in which we can find a way for the central banks to avoid considering the market exuberance and the excessive valuations of both stock markets and bond markets as a collateral damage that they shouldn't care about, because what they care about is core inflation and prices. They need to pay attention to that, and the way to do it is by having limits to monetary policy, by placing limits to monetary policy so that central banks don't place themselves constantly behind the curve, by at the same time paying attention to the inflation that is being created, because they talk about very low inflation, therefore no risk. However, we have massive inflation in financial assets. And that's the problem. So what they need to do is to normalize monetary policy more quickly than what usually, the defenders of demand-side policies say, but at the same time pay a lot more attention to risks in the financial market.